Welcome. Nice to see you. Merry Christmas. Had a couple of comments from people. One just before starting, and that was, am I actually going to refer to the article I sent out? Yes. The other was a woman who lives out of town wrote me and said, I'd love to come, but you meditate 15 minutes and talk 80 minutes. Isn't that ratio reversed? Shouldn't you like talk 15 minutes and meditate 80 minutes? I thought, well, I don't know. Then I wrote her back and said, maybe, but nobody I talked to would want to come then. So. Except that. Yeah, she might come.
She wanted an individual audience.
Right, well. So, I just had a thought, too, as I was sitting there, that maybe to remind you why we do meditate at all. And, it's like, and Ed, in this article, which was posted on his Facebook page, and then I learned about it because somebody on my Facebook page posted it. So I'd never heard of this guy, but then I usually don't look at Facebook, but I did this time, and I actually read the article, and I thought, wait, cool, this guy's really right on the money. He says a lot of stuff in here. There's a lot of ground he covers. So one reason for meditating in especially long periods of time, as he kind of alludes to here, or says clearly in here, is you lose all sense of boundaries. Like I had many, many experiences of having no sense at all of having a body. Frequently I couldn't tell whether my eyes were open or closed. It's almost like I'd have to touch them. I mean, I had no idea. It was the same thing either way. If they were open, I saw nothing. If they were closed, I saw nothing. Or if I might see a bright light, and that was all it was. And all kinds of very transpersonal experiences, floating above the body, and all kinds of things go on in long periods of meditation. But even a brief period can give you a sense, maybe, of your mind settling down, and the experience of being alive but not thinking. That's ideal. That's what we're shooting for. So I actually want to go over this like a little bit of a, review it pretty carefully. Okay? So if you didn't bring your copy, don't worry. I'll talk about what I want to say.
Can I go to my car and get it?
Sure. Go ahead.
Be right back.
And I assume that at least some of you didn't read it, because I mean that's always taken for granted, and that's okay too. Because you're gonna have to really suffer through it now. What goes around comes around. Did you read it, Joe?
I had good intentions.
I know I wrote.
Thankless job. Anyway, so this guy actually sounds like he started out in a very similar way that I did, which is, I would call this Mount Baldy Zen Center hardcore, very hardcore Zen. I've talked to people who train there. It's right outside Los Angeles, and this Joshu Sasaki Roshi is a tough nut. And as far as I know, he's still doing it. He's about 100 now. He may have died very recently, but I talked to somebody who did a session with him just a couple of years ago. Still tough nut, tough, hardcore. That's good though. That's real good. I mean, if you want that. If you need to be beaten senseless, which I certainly did. So after a few days of intense sitting, he goes into samadhi. Yeah. This particular experience, the description of it is unique to him. His brain becomes hard like a rock. I don't know what that means. And no thinking can penetrate my brain. That's the beginning of good. first started trying to convey this stuff, I would diss thinking, and I got so much crap about it. I mean, so many people were so pissed off about it and didn't understand it. It's like, what is hard to understand about this? But
Excuse me.
the reason it's not helpful is because it's not real thinking. It's obsessing and ruminating and worrying and fantasizing and mental masturbation and useless, but distracting and confusing, and it keeps you stuck. So if anybody was actually thinking, of course I'm all in favor of that. That just doesn't happen for most of us, most of the time. So then he feels like he's going unconscious and blah, blah, blah. He calls this Nirvikalpa Samadhi. I guess he's able to come in and out of it when the bell rings. Like, I sincerely doubt that after a round of meditation he can't move. But that's what a real deep Nirvikalpa would be like. In other words, you lose all ability to function. You don't eat, you don't sleep, you don't do nothing. In fact, you can't. Take your clothes off, put your clothes on, but you're incapacitated in a deep state of Nirvikalpa Samadhi. But so he goes in and out of it, which is what I've done too. Many, I don't know if it's thousands, but probably times of being alive, but absolute nothing. Nothing going on, nobody there, nothing happening, no body, no mind, no nothing. Zip.
Was there any conscious experience?
Not really. I mean, there's awareness. And not even that. A lot of times not even that. Nothing. A disappearance down a rabbit hole. Just gone. But then the bell would ring and I'd come out of it. Now this going in and out of it endlessly is actually kind of useful. But I didn't get any more than he got, meaning when I came out of sesshin, I would come back to my real life and I would be the same person, as far as I could tell. So that was kind of frustrating.
There's a guy, that was a book I transcribed of V. Subramani Iyer, who says there's a couple of types of Nirvikalpa. One is unconscious and one is conscious.
Okay, that's interesting. I guess I experienced both, because there was times of, I mean, a lot of Zen koans pull at this awareness. Like he says, there's no separation between me and any objects. I literally become everything in my consciousness. The sound of an airplane passing in the sky, the call of a crow, the sound of the wind. This experience is a necessary experience to be able to solve a lot of koans. You have to become a church bell ringing across town. You have to become an airplane flying over. You have to become the cawing of the crow. So there's absolutely no separation between you and that. So, and your perceptions do become incredibly vivid and intense. So, I guess this is a kind of Nirvikalpa. It's the world is perceived by an infant. I hadn't thought of it that way, but I guess.
Why?
Why is it that way?
The world is perceived by an infant.
An infant. Yeah.
I don't know. I've been to too many infant stages.
You know, I had an experience once leaving a sesshin, and I was actually driving in my car, and I suddenly saw this image of the infant at the end of 2001: A Space Odyssey. People remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And there's actually a name for that image, which is
Wasn't it a
the
fetus?
Star Child. It's a fetus, but it's like like that. It's like just pure, no thought, but a kind of awareness, but not an identified awareness. There's no identity with that body or mind. There's just